In today's video class, I will discuss one of the films I enjoyed growing up, and what better way to discuss than the only theatrical Hanna-Barbera movie based on the book by E.B. White, also known for his work of Stuart Little, called Charlotte's Web. Let's discuss the production of the movie first before we begin the summary. According to the Wikipedia, the animators John Hubley and Faith Hubley were interested in purchasing the film rights to Charlotte's Web in hopes of producing a feature-length animated adaptation of E.B. White's novel. Who, like the Hubleys that much, sold the film's rights, but they were unable to acquire financing, so White sold the film rights to Charlotte's Web to Edgar Bronfman, Senior Citricus Productions. I am so sorry if I'm butchering the company name, which intended to produce a feature-length animated adaptation of the book. Director and producer Michael Cavendish got hired to supervise the project. Later in November, Henry White, president of the Citricus Pictures, again, sorry if I'm butchering the name, and Cavendish approached director Gene Deitch to direct Charlotte's Web. Deitch agreed and personally met with E.B. White to discuss how the book should be adapted. As part of the contract deal with E.B. White, he would have the final approval of the character designs and the casting of the spider character Charlotte. However, Cavendish left the project to direct to the other project of his CPG, and Deitch later learned that he was forbidden to show his storyboards to E.B. White. Which I can understand because authors can sometimes want to have control of the project, and it could be a hassle, and there are some issues during the production that I'm sure a lot of online critics have discussed it already in their own take of the movie, but let's discuss the film's summary. So we get a few artwork scenes of the music being played, you have a feeling of the up and down atmosphere of the introduction, and then we get to see a calm scene of a farm life where the narrator explains it, and we see a farmer, John, voiced by John Stevenson, who had to kill a newborn runt piglet, where his daughter Fern, voiced by Pamela Verdon, finds out why her father had an axe.
What does he need an axe for?
One of the pigs was a runt, so your father has to do away with it.
Do away with it? You mean kill it?
Well, yes.
Yeah, things got dark with the reality. Then Fern interfered with her father from killing the newborn piglet runt.
Don't kill it! It's unfair!
Fern, you will have to learn to control yourself.
Control myself? This is a matter of life and death, and you talk about controlling myself!
Now, Fern, I know more about raising pigs than you do. A weakling makes trouble. Now, run along.
But it's unfair! If I had been very small, would you have killed me?
Okay, to be fair, she is a child and she doesn't understand the reality of farming and its harsh truths, and handling runts, oh well, circle of life, I guess. So John decides to let Fern raise the pig, which she named Wilbur. After that scene, we get the start of the first song of the movie. Oh yeah, the majority of the songs of this movie was done by the famous Sherman Brothers, as we all know that they are known for. Now, E.B. White did make complaints of his project being made into a musical during the production, but he did sign a contract that he cannot have full control of the movie, save for the character designs, etc. But I can understand why. It's not surprising that Hanna-Barbera is trying to pull the same thing that Disney had done while Walt was still alive at the time. But hey, guess companies want to redo the Disney vibe, I guess. The song being played, called There Must Be Something, basically is a lullaby and has the mother and child vibe that both Fern and Wilbur display throughout the sequence. And ironically, this is actually the songs that I really like. It has that feeling that, as I mentioned earlier, a mother and child vibe, that a mother is comforting her child, and I like that. Basically, I wish my mother could have done that for me, showing affection growing up. Then we transition later that Wilbur is now a fully grown adult pig, that you cannot tell the difference that he was born a runt. Unfortunately, John tells Fern that it's time to sell Wilbur, which makes her and Wilbur distraught of the news. But it was revealed that her uncle, Homer Zuckerman, bought the pig. And yeah, this scene is very sad to look at, but you could see the distraught and heartbreak of these two separating. Then we get to the next scene where Wilbur meets the mother goose at Zuckerman's farm, who offers to let Wilbur talk to her if he wants to, which he doesn't, and she encourages him to try and do so, and we get this.
I can talk. I can talk. I can actually, factually talk.
Okay, I need to discuss one of the songs in this movie that I have an issue with, that being called I Can Talk. This song is pretty much explanatory that Wilbur is basically expressing that he is happy that he is speaking sentences, making typical noises that pigs make, but I honestly feel that the lyrics are too annoying and too corny. But I do like the beat of the music itself, but the problem is the lyrics of the song makes no sense to me. It's just too annoying, and pretty much all of the animals' expressions in the sequence of the song is basically explanatory and speaking volume of how annoying the song is. Then we get Wilbur, who is voiced by Henry Gibson, and we see later that Wilbur is feeling lonely, having no friends, asks the animals at the farm to play with him, where we met Templeton the rat, who is voiced by Paul Lade, where Wilbur asks Templeton if he'd like to play, but how does Templeton respond?
I never do any of those things, if I can avoid them. I prefer to spend my time spying and hiding and eating.
Need I say more? So Wilbur asks the sheep if they want to play, and the ram states that when it comes to Wilbur's fate,
Till you're fat enough to kill.
What did you say?
Oh, everybody knows it. In the fall, you'll be turned into smoked bacon and ham, just as soon as cold weather sets in. They'll kill you.
Oh.
yeah, that's something you don't want to hear, that you will become Christmas dinner, bacon, and parts used for hot dogs. So when he cries, he hears a voice that states they could save his life, and he will meet them first thing in the morning. So the next day, we get a musical number called Chin Up, which I like this song. The message speaks for itself that despite the ups and downs of life, that you always have to start by having your chin up high and smile on your face, and face things in life head on, the best of your abilities. And then we get introduced to the second main protagonist of the movie, the main spider herself, Charlotte, who is voiced by the legend Debbie Reynolds. Apparently during the production, allegedly Debbie wanted to voice the spider so much that she even stated that she would do it for free. This woman better have received payment for voicing the spider. So Charlotte introduces herself to Wilbur and stated that she could do what she can to save his life. Then we get to the next scene where Fern arrives at the farm and it's okay to see the animals talking. Okay, why is she not panicking hearing the animals talking? I mean, I would have had a panic attack if I saw that. Then we get to the scene of Wilbur talking to a duckling named Joffrey, which, yeah, I have no comment about this character. About how they have lots of things in common called We've Got Lots in Common. Okay. I need to address my biggest issue with Hanna-Barbera trying to mimic the Disney formula in this sequence. Basically, the animation sequence is similar to some of the Disney animated films that try to give that friendship kind of message. I get that the message of the song is that despite our differences, we have similar traits, that being eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and talking in our own unique way, but I feel that the animation sequence itself is just Hanna-Barbera trying really hard to mimic the Disney choreography, but I just don't like this sequence. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the message of the song, but I feel that this scene, just this animation sequence, just feels like Hanna-Barbera is trying really hard to copy and paste the Disney formula. Maybe I could be wrong. I am welcome to you guys debating this in the comments below to speak about your thoughts about this. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts if you guys agree or disagree. Then we get to the scene where Charlotte sings a lullaby for the farm animals, and then we get this beautifully done animation of Charlotte creating her web with the message on the web. Like, you could see the beautiful atmosphere and you could hear the calming singing background. It has that relaxing ASMR kind of thing, if that makes sense. But I really love the animation sequence of this. It is beautifully done and it just feels like you're in a trance of this animation. Then we get to the next scene where Zuckerman and his wife, along with their farmhand, saw the message of the web called Some Pig. And it feels like that this web is basically trying to show that there's some significant specialty with Wilbur, which got the media's attention. But unfortunately, that moment ends when the Hornet destroys the message of the web. So the farm animals band together to help Charlotte and Wilbur figure out the next message to put in the web, which the goose suggests best to write the words terrific, which I kind of like this interaction between the goose, Charlotte, and the ram. I'm just gonna let it play out for you guys.
I think it's T double E double R double R double I double F double I double C C C.
What kind of an acrobat do you think I am? It would take me all night to write that.
I'd advise you not to consult geese in matters of spelling. The word is spelled Terrific.
Okay, despite the bickering between the goose and the ram, it's very nice to see that the farm animals are willing to help Charlotte and Wilbur trying to save Wilbur's life. It kind of shows that it's like a family, like they're willing to help each other no matter what. I kind of like this. Then we get a pretty dark moment that Charlotte tricks Templeton. I'll just let you see this clip.
That was nice, Charlotte.
Perhaps the next time I call a meeting, Templeton, you'll see fit to attend.
Yeah, that is not dark at all, and damn, Charlotte, you are evil. We do get to see of Charlotte's patience going thin the moment that Wilbur gets hysterics over the fear that he's going to die despite what she does, so she expects him to put the effort of wanting to live too if she's doing the work too. Kind of like a teamwork kind of thing. If she does the work, he has to work too. Henceforth, he starts doing acrobatics, and it gotten so popular to the point that Homer Circleman made an announcement that he'll take Wilbur to the county fair, which is both good and bad because it is considered judgment of whether or not he lives or he dies. And of course, Charlotte made a comment saying that she might not go because she's about to lay eggs soon. And then we get this beautiful singing sequence called Mother Earth and Father Time.
How very special are we for just a moment to be part of life's eternal rhyme. How very special are we to have on our family tree Mother Earth and Father Time.
Okay, I honestly feel like this song could have been the core song only for this movie because I feel like the song's message is pretty much the summary of the principle that the story is teaching about the meaning of life and friendship, particularly with life and changes. Life is like the seasons. It begins anew in the form of spring, and then it progresses through the summer and autumn, and then it ends at winter and begins anew again like a cycle. I really feel like this is a beautiful message that it teaches about life and death, and it also shows about significant changes, how it goes on over the years. I honestly feel like this is a core message I really like about this, and I feel like that the book teaches this principle well. But again, Hanna-Barbera is trying to do this Disney-esque musical numbers with the other songs they have done. Don't get me wrong, I love those two songs that I mentioned earlier, and I also love Affair is a Veritable Smorgasbord because it has that charisma-esque kind of feeling, but I honestly feel like that this song alone could have been the only song left in the movie because it spoke volume for itself. I don't know, maybe that's just my critical thinking, I guess. And speaking in the terms of changes, we get to the scene where Fern and Henry, who she hangs out with throughout the movie, they start to grow a very close bond. And Wilbur is a little distraught that Fern is distracted by Henry, but Charlotte informs Wilbur that she's growing up and this is part of life. And sooner or later, she's gonna have to get married and have children. And Charlotte also gives out this other message as well during the night.
I'll tell you in the morning, when the first light comes into the sky, and the sparrows stir and the cows rattle their chains, when the rooster crows and the stars fade.
Yeah, that is actually quoted from the book, class. Go ahead and read the book, and you could see this dialogue was from the book itself. That's kind of good respect from Hanna-Barbera of doing that. Then we get the reprise role of The Fair is a Veritable Smorgasbord, and as you can see in the sequence, you can tell dead away that this is not a Disney wannabe trying to copy the Disney-esque kind of vibe. This is purely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Hanna-Barbera vibes. I really love the animation sequence of Templeton eating all these soggy foods and shit and loving the lyrics and the vibe of the tone of the music. It really feels like Hanna-Barbera, and I really love that very much. And this is a guilty sodomite that I listen to, especially when I'm working graveyard shifts at work. The next morning, we see Charlotte laying her egg sac, which she considers to be her magnum opus. And then the fair is excited to see a miracle sign at the fair, but unfortunately that tender moment gets ruined by this.
Uncle Homer! Uncle Homer! Uncle Homer!
Avery,
What's the matter with you, boy?
this pig has won first prize already.
Oh no!
So Wilbur got his own marching band instead. It turns out that the fairgrounds decided to give Wilbur a special prize because of the phenomenon that has occurred around Wilbur. So Wilbur got his own barber shop Cortez, a bronze medallion, and Homer Sugarman received $25. And how did Homer Sugarman react to all this?
He's some pig. And if I have anything to do with it, he's gonna live to a ripe old age.
And judging by that facial class, that shows that Wilbur had achieved what he was trying to do throughout this movie. He saved his life. Now that means he would not be afraid of becoming Christmas dinner or bacon or parts for a hot dog. But unfortunately, with happiness, there has to come the concept of grief and sadness. When Charlotte is informed of Wilbur's success, she is now satisfied that she could die peacefully knowing that she had helped Wilbur. But Wilbur asks the very big question that everybody wanted to ask her. Why? And how did she answer?
You have been my friend. That in itself is a tremendous thing. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, and we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess with all this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my own life a trifle.
So basically, Charlotte wanted to do something extraordinary in her life and not just do the simple things that spiders do, which honestly, a lot of us can relate to that. We want to do something extraordinary in our lives, not just the simple things. We just want to be remembered by something. But I really love this message that she gives about life, that we're born, we live a little while, and then we die. And she wants to be remembered by something than just being a mere spider. But I honestly really like that. When Wilbur states that he's excited to go back to the farm, he is distraught to find out that Charlotte cannot come back and that she is dying, and asks Templeton to retrieve the eggs. When Wilbur informs Charlotte that her eggs are safe, she says this and sings this song one last time.
The autumn days grow short and cold. It's Christmas time again. Then snows of winter slowly melt. The days grow short, and then he turns the seasons around, and so she changes her gown. Mother Earth and Father Time, how very special are we for just a moment to be part of life's eternal ride.
And thus ends the beloved spider that has helped a pig from being butchered. So Wilbur returns to the farm and buries Charlotte's egg sac under the manure pile, and then we see the transitions of the seasons changes, and we see things changing around, like the goose getting new goslings, and of course Templeton getting married and having kids. Poor bastard. And then Charlotte's eggs finally hatched, but unfortunately, all of them decided to leave to make webs for themselves, and Wilbur decides to run away, but however, there are 3 little run spiders that stay behind. He asked the 3 spiders if they're writers, but they said not yet until they grow up, and Wilbur asked them to make this tribute for their mother. And what was this tribute?
This hallowed doorway was once the home of Charlotte. She was brilliant, beautiful, and loyal to the end. Her memory will be treasured forever.
Damn, Wilbur, that is very philosophical and very deep, man. Damn.
Wilbur never forgot Charlotte, although he loved her children and grandchildren dearly. None of the new spiders ever quite took her place in his heart. She was in a class by herself. It's not often that someone comes along who is a true friend and a good writer. Charlotte was both.
And thus was the movie Charlotte's Web. How did the critics reacted to this movie when it was released in 1973? Well, how do I put this nicely? Majority of the critics criticized it being like a Saturday morning quickie movie. Some of them were saying that the songs were uninteresting and unoriginal, while even E.B. White himself even was not very pleased. Actually, ironically, this was a quote from E.B. White himself, which stated, "The story is interrupted every few minutes so that somebody could sing a jolly song. I don't care much for jolly songs. The Blue Hill Fair, which I try to report faithfully in the book, has become a Disney World with 76 trombones, but that's what you get for getting embroiled in Hollywood." Like, it really was that bad because Disney at the time tried to get the rights to Charlotte's Web, which he refused, and unfortunately Hanna-Barbera did the exact same thing that E.B. White was afraid of what his story was about to become. But aside from that, in 1994, it became very successful with it selling of copies that even became encouraging kids to read the book itself. And honestly, I really enjoyed this movie. As I said before, it didn't need to have some Disney songs here and there in some of the scenes, and I really feel that they should have kept the Mother Earth and Father Time as the only song in the movie, but I honestly love the animation that is purely Hanna-Barbera. I love the storyline that it follows true to the book itself, and I really love the message that it gives about friendship and as well as life and grieving of the concept of death very well. I highly recommend you guys check out this movie, and I give Charlotte's Web a 4 out of 5. I am Ben Mazza, aka Jedi Griffin Pictures. May the Force be with you all. Take care, and thank you for watching. 7 months later. What the hell is this? I hope you enjoyed your 7th month vacation, Jedi Griffin Pictures. This coming Halloween, you're going to analyze an AU Has-Been Hotel, and I think this one will make you have a nightmare. Really? I've seen some AU versions of the Hospital Hotel. I mean, some of them are okay. What's the worst thing that's gonna...
I know what you're trying to do, Alistair. So let me make one thing perfectly clear. Just because I don't want anyone harmed
does not mean I am not capable of causing harm.
Oh, wow, look at him now, Superman's famous kid. Soon what do you see? The greatest hog in history. Fine swine, wish it was mine. What if he's not so big? He's some terrific, radiant, humble, think of a jig of a pig. The terrific, radiant, humble Superman, 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 Superman.